On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
Having the ability to divest ourselves from the stresses that regular people that live paycheck to paycheck endure through every day, it's not the same.
Okay. Anybody else want to chime in or had a question?
Well, I was going to ask you this, Anton. Do you think the fact that I know Kevin Samuel's been talking a lot about women being like the first man to imprint on a woman, right? Do you think that plays a part? I know Crimson brought up the fact that the man or the couple that gets married young, right? And so do you think the fact that as you guys have grown older together, the fact that you were your wife's, really first and only imprint, do you think that plays a part in why y'all get along so good? And also the second part to that is, do you think that a woman who has already been
yes
okay.
To your first question. Go ahead.
Women are filing for divorce, in my opinion, more than anything, because they don't think marriages work. They think they get into these marriages and it's going to be a Disney show the whole way through, and everything's going to be, and she doesn't have to do anything. She just has to be right here, and that's enough. And she should be enough. And it doesn't work like that. When they get into these relationships and understand that in order to be a wife, you have to continue to meet the needs of your husband, not just enough to get the proposal and get married. That's actually not the end of it. The real work begins after the wedding, not before. So once you get that wedding, then comes the actual marriage, where you have to actually do that work as a woman. And I believe that a lot of these modern women out here don't like that work. They don't like all of the emotional work that they have to do. They're part of that marriage. They can pinpoint what he's got to do. But when it comes to what they've got to do as women, I think that becomes overwhelming to them. They get bored with that. They don't like that. And so it's like, we just can't, I just can't, girl. We just can't get along. I'm just not feeling his vibe no more. And then divorce.
So wait. So Crimson, so answer me these questions, a couple different questions. Why is the number one reason why people get divorced money? A. And then why is the majority of women leading with provision and protection for what it is that they're looking for when it comes to men? They don't say love, they don't say emotion, they don't say romance, they don't say desire. And as a matter of fact, as women age, the ranking by which they place that love, romance, desire, emotional connection, all that other type of stuff falls way down on the list compared to their desire to be provided and protected for, which closely aligns with the idea why women are hypergamous in the first place.
Women have a fantasy world that they live in, mostly. Do women want to be provided for? Do we like security? Do we like the security that a man with means has? Sure, all women like that. Getting divorced because of money usually means I'm going to get divorced and I'm going to take what money he has, because if he's broke, you don't have to worry about that problem. But if he has money, then she's going to be like, oh, okay, well, I can get something out of this once I'm bored with what's going on. Is he providing consistently? Most of the time, yeah. Men are providing consistently. And if he's really doing the thing, his provision, if they got married when he was younger, is actually increasing as he gets older, because whatever he's building, whatever he's doing in terms of provision and in terms of finances is probably growing. So they're probably getting better in that sense. But where they're degrading is the internal thing, not the money thing. That's almost a smokescreen. That's almost cap. I'm just going to put it like that. That's almost cap for a lot of women. Well, it was the money, and it was not. If she's arguing about money and he got money, that means it's not being distributed the way she think it should be. It's not flowing the way to her the way she think it should be flowing.
I have a question for you,
I
Anton.
would have to. Go ahead. Ask your question.
My question is, like to find a happy medium here. Could it be that this post was that the woman had a fantasy about, like you said, provision and money, that she had this fantasy about the lifestyle that she was going to have, the money that she was going to be able to enjoy, and it didn't turn out that way, and that's why? Because it still is a fantasy that she had, right?
The
But
reason why I say what I
most
say, the reason why I say what I say is because I found that the more successful that a man becomes throughout his marriage. So let's take somebody like me that got married when I was 22 years old and I'm 39 now and I've been married for 17 years, right? I found that the more successful that I've become, the less amount of time that I have to give towards whatever on a daily basis, right? But we are more connected and in love than we've ever been before. I may spend less time with her, but the time that I spend is more meaningful. And the options that we have to do what it is that we want to do is significantly greater. So when we do spend time with each other on a daily basis, when we do, even if we go out and I bring my laptop with me, we incredibly connected. We holding arms, we holding hands, we loving and we kissing. I used to never even show public displays of affection out in life. Now I'm in a space and we in a space to where, right, I never used to hold hands or none of that. Now we in a space to where it's roses and puppy love and all of this stuff. And I would largely tie that to my ability to be able to free up and divest myself from the stress and the rigors of everyday life that normal people will have to endure, and that they got to worry about living paycheck to paycheck and all of this other type of stuff. So it doesn't align or compute with me, even though I'm more busy than I've ever been. But at the same time, we're less stressed and she's more free flowing in her ability to be able to move throughout the day. And this is a similar situation. And we have, I have married parties over here all the time. I've said, I put it on my Instagram. It's the same thing with other couples that I know. We all are kind of living and flowing without any kind of problems. And although the men work extremely hard, the women are incredibly happy because the time that we have and the ability to divest ourselves from the stresses that regular people that live paycheck to paycheck endure through every day, it's not the same.
Okay. Anybody else want to chime in or had a question?
Well, I was going to ask you this, Anton. Do you think the fact that I know Kevin Samuel's been talking a lot about women being like the first man to imprint on a woman, right? Do you think that plays a part? I know Crimson brought up the fact that the man or the couple that gets married young, right? And so do you think the fact that as you guys have grown older together, the fact that you were your wife's, really first and only imprint, do you think that plays a part in why y'all get along so good? And also the second part to that is, do you think that a woman who has already been
yes
okay.
to your first question, but go ahead.